Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're watching from. And welcome back to Conversations That Matter with Dr. Sonia Robinson, Global Civility Leader. Now, we've put in motion, aren't you excited? I'm just so excited about this. The Congress for Global Communications Executive Leadership Team. We've met the food equity team as well as the financial and wealth equity. Last week, we talked to the Equity for All Reduced Inequalities. So we have 4 more weeks after today, 4 more to meet additional team members and to hear about their sustainable goals and where they're going to focus on and how they're going to help our future going forward. So again, I just want to thank you for coming on board, and we're going to keep this momentum going by talking to the quality education team today. So I want you to remember, as I say always, once we get through all of the introductions, we're going to change the platform from Conversations That Matter to Congress for Global Communication. Again, Congress for Global Communication was birthed from Conversations That Matter. So that's why we're going to do the change in the platform. Now, if you could do 3 things for me, and you know what they are. 1, if you could put in the feed where you're watching from. 2, if you have any questions, comments, put those in the feed. We can go back and look at those later to make sure we grabbed everything, that we have everything accounted for, that we're, picking up the information that you want to share and, putting it in making it part of the proposal, just to make sure that you're informed on what it is that we're trying to do here. And then finally, share the video. 7.8 million people in the world, 7.8 billion people in the world. We're not reaching all of those people. So if people want to go back and look at the video, they have an opportunity to do so. So please share the video. And as I say each week, I'm going to share with you the vision, the purpose, and the mission, just to ensure that you're aligned with Congress for Global Communication. So again, thank you for joining us today. And I say thank you and welcome. So we're going to jump right into the vision. The Congress for Global Communication exists to promote diverse and inclusive dialogue, resulting in civility for all. The mission of the Congress for Global Communication is to build global connections and communications for the advancement of sustainable development goals by providing training, policy recommendations, and empowerment forums with an overall scope of transforming the world. And then finally, the purpose: to encourage dialogue, to impact humanity through collaborative global communication, to be the go-to resource and authority for sustainable development goals. So again, I'm not going to hold you any further because I really just want to jump into the show today. Again, I'm going to hold my comments to the end because I don't want to take away from the group. And I know they have so much to say. So with that, I'm going to bring out my co-host for today. And my co-host, you'll remember him from last week, is none other than Dr. Charles Bennon from Accra, Ghana. He is a 2021 I Change Nations African Diplomat of the Year, leading the world in civility. He is the CEO and lead consultant of Triple Grace Consultancy and Logistics Limited. He is an honorary rep in Ghana, Asian Africa Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He is the country representative, I Change Nations Ghana. He is a project facilitator for Africa Trade and Investment Global Services. He is a marketing and insurance consultant by profession and a deal broker by practice with proven executive management acumen and experience spanning almost 20 years. And then finally, he is widely connected in government circles, both locally and internationally, and in the corporate environment with royals and celebrities, and passionately leverages all his experiences, exposures, and expertise to the advantage of his business partners, clients, and all those who come in contact with him. So again, help me welcome Dr. Charles Bennon. And the only thing that I'm going to say, I promise not to say anything about quality education. I'm going to let the team do it. is a quality early education can change a child's life forever. I'm going to say that and I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. Charles. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sonia Robinson. And I bring greetings from Ghana to everybody listening to us throughout the world. We are super excited to be with you this evening. And what is the issue at stake? We are here to deliberate on the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is quality education. Quality education. It is envisaged that by 2030, the Sustainable Development Goal, or this Sustainable Development Goal, will ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, which will lead to relevant and effective learning outcome. Now, this goal is such that it's supposed to be inclusive. Inclusive means irrespective of your sex, irrespective of your race, you are to be empowered to access quality education. The other points worth mentioning are the importance of quality education. Quality education is to ensure that we create more employment opportunities. Because when people get educated, they are empowered to come up with innovative ideas that would eventually result in job creations, and people would also have access to employment. The second point is securing higher income. You would agree with me that if you are a university graduate, you are likely to earn much more salary than somebody who didn't attain that height in education. So for you to have higher income or revenue, you need to have quality and higher education. The next point or importance of quality education is developing problem solving skills. If you are not educated, you are actually not empowered to solve problems. But education would give you the light to prescribe solutions for the myriad of problems that is confronting our globe today. So it is incumbent upon all of us to embrace quality education. Then it also improves our economies, the economies of the world. With education, people enter into various professions, and the kind of stuff they learn at schools empower them to come up with various careers, whether they are engineers, whether they are scientists, whether they are technicians. They all contribute to the development and growth of the global economy. And this would invariably culminate in empowerment of human species or human beings. Then another thing that quality education offers us is giving back to our community. When we are educated, we are also employed in various ways, whether we are politicians, whether we are people working in top executive positions in various occupations. We all contribute to the development of our respective nations. So we give back what education gives us to the growth and development of our nations. Then it also creates modern society. That's another importance of education. Now we are actually chiming live globally because of quality education. Technology is the word. Without quality education, people wouldn't have been able to come up with these innovative and inventive ideas for us to connect with you wherever you are in the world. This is an outcome of quality education. Then quality education also bridges global borders. I'm here, you are probably in the United States of America, there is another person in Europe, there is somebody in China, but because of digital space, now we have all closed up this global gap. So it brings the global border together and closer, or it bridges it up because of quality education. Quality education also creates equal opportunities. You can be a black, you can be white, you can be a lady, you can be a gentleman. Insofar as you score first class and an organization says they are looking for graduate with first class, you qualify to secure that job. So what point are we trying to make? Quality education creates equal opportunities, irrespective of your sex or gender, your race, your religious background. Insofar as you have quality education, you can enter into the job market and compete with all your co-equals. Last but not the least, it introduces empowerment. As we attain quality education, we are empowered to enter into any field of endeavor and translate whatever we have learned academically into various outcomes. Whether you are an engineer, whether you are a lawyer, whether you are a doctor who would perform surgeries, or whether you are Dr. Robin Sawyer who would moderate the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal projects, we are all contributing to the development of our economy. So these are the importance of quality education as a UN Sustainable Development Goal. Sonia, I'm back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So there was an appropriate video clip that that was sent to me. I'm going to go ahead and show it and just show how all of this interrelates to quality education and what we need to do in order to move it forward. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to bring you back to introduce your team, and you're going to take it from there.
Thank you.
Malcolm X once said that education is the passport to the future. But what if some passports are better than others, giving the holder access to better schools and teachers, and in turn, a more prosperous future? These inequalities have been around long before COVID-19, but the pandemic has both exacerbated them and made them more visible. While the standard of education varies greatly globally, education inequality happens at the local level in all countries. For example, only 4 out of every 100 children in Africa is expected to enter a graduate and postgraduate institution, compared to 14 out of 100 in South and West Asia and 36 out of 100 in Latin America. Even in developed countries, the quality of schooling can differ greatly whether rich or poor. High national wealth, then, is no guarantee of high equality. The UK, Germany and the US are among the richest countries in the world, but all three rank poorly on an educational inequality league table of 41 of the world's richest countries. By the middle of secondary school, educational inequalities are worse than in other countries with much smaller economies such as Latvia, Spain and Estonia. However, research has shown that child development is linked with income. Unsurprisingly, the US and the UK have some of the highest levels of income inequality among OECD countries. In the UK, there has been a significant lack of social mobility since 1945. As wealth inequality has remained high, there hasn't been much change in how well British children are doing at school. In a 2019 report by the education coalition Fair Education Alliance, pupils from disadvantaged backgrounds in the UK lag their peers by more than 8 months in reading, writing and maths by age 11.
Children from persistently disadvantaged backgrounds are 22 months behind by the time they finish their school career. Small progress has been made in helping some children almost beat the odds and overcome the barriers that face them. But the systemic underlying factors of our education system still remain, which mean we're not ever reaching the most persistently disadvantaged.
So what are the contributing factors of education inequality among children? According to UNICEF, a child's educational progress is linked to their family background. What kind of jobs the parents have, or whether the child is a first-generation immigrant, can affect the likelihood of them continuing into higher education. Inequality between genders is also apparent from a young age and tends to grow as children get older. Reading abilities among girls are generally better than boys by the age of 9, and in turn that discrepancy is more likely to continue in education beyond secondary school. And finally, which school you go to can have a significant impact on your academic performance. In many countries, the debate on inequality in education is seen through the prism of private schools versus state schools. The UK is home to some very famous private schools like Eton College and Harrow School behind me. Of the 55 British Prime Ministers, nearly half were educated at just these two schools, along with prominent actors, writers, scientists and royalty from across the world. To compare, the entire state school education in England of a young person starting from nursery costs an average of around $96,000. The annual school fees at Harrow, however, costs around $56,000 for just 1 year of a child's tuition. But even that is dwarfed by private schools in Switzerland, such as La Rose, which cost more than $135,000 per year. Many believe that private education is at the root of inequality and reduces the chances for those students who attend state schools. The statistics tell us that educational privilege provides significant advantages and opens many doors. In the UK, nearly a third of members of parliament, 2/3 of the country's top doctors, and 74% of judges were privately educated. The exam results also reflect the disparity. In 2019, 45.7% of students at private schools in the UK got A* or A's in their final year exams, compared to the national average of 25.5%. But there are some state-funded schools that buck that trend. This is Mulberry School for Girls in East London. It's located in one of the most disadvantaged areas of the city, yet the exam performance of students here is well above national average. Vanessa Ogden is the head teacher here and for the last 15 years has been instrumental in seeing many of her pupils overturn the odds. As a head teacher, how do you, in your role, help to tackle education inequality?
The first really important way is to have students leave with a really great set of qualifications and really great destinations to either university or apprenticeships, and so that's the driving force. But of course, inequality brings with it many structural difficulties in your life.
But while the pupils at Mulberry School have outperformed their peers for many years, the COVID-19 pandemic may have undone much of that work.
We know from the research that COVID-19 has disproportionately affected people of black, Asian and minority ethnic background, and those are the families mainly that we serve. And so not only has there been real difficulty around finance and resources, but also real difficulty around health. The very first thing that reared its head was period poverty, female students not being able to get sanitary products. We hadn't realised that really, in a way, schools are the providers of some of those things. Stationery as well, so if you don't have money or if the shops are shut and you don't have stationery in the home. And we lent out all the devices that we could so that they could learn at home.
In terms of the reasons why COVID-19 has exacerbated the disadvantage gap, one big reason is the digital divide, but it's also a resource divide in general. Some families might not have access to laptops to access online learning. They might not have a lot of space. The little progress we have made over the last 10 years is likely to have been reversed by lockdown. So what was already a dire situation has been turned into quite a crisis.
The pandemic also highlighted highlighted another aspect of education inequality: private tuition. By mid-April, there were nationwide school closures in more than 190 countries, affecting more than 1.5 billion learners. This led to an unprecedented demand for online teaching. Some online tutoring platforms saw the number of daily users increase by 1,125% in 2 weeks. In Singapore, there have even been calls to ban the private tuition industry in an attempt to close the achievement gap. The COVID-19 pandemic also impacted students in the UK progressing to university. Due to exams being cancelled during the lockdown, results were given based on an algorithm that critics claim dragged down high-achieving pupils in low-achieving schools, compounding the inequalities they face. The Department of Education and the exam boards initially responded by claiming there was no bias, whether on the grounds of deprivation, gender, or ethnicity. However, they eventually reversed their decision, with grades instead estimated by the students' teachers. So what can be done to reduce education inequalities both here and around the world? A former Singaporean education minister said in 2018 that there should be a broader definition of merit to recognise a wider range of skills.
We should double up on meritocracy, broaden its definition to embrace various talents and skills. We should not cap achievement at the top, but try harder, work harder to lift the bottom.
The Fair Education Alliance also believes there is too much reliance on exams and that education should be more holistic to include building aptitude and values.
We want an education system which develops skills and social and emotional competencies alongside academic attainment. We want teachers and leaders to be rewarded for serving the most disadvantaged students. We want to engage parents and communities from all backgrounds in the education system, and we want to prepare young people for what comes after school.
Education is a way out of difficult situations. It's also a means of moving yourself up the tree in terms of prosperity, and not just financial prosperity, but also your kind of spiritual and cultural prosperity as well.
It's also the case that a policy that works in one country or region may not work in another. Income inequality, however, is likely to grow due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This means that creating better education systems is increasingly important so that a child's starting point in life doesn't determine their future.
You have to be an optimist, otherwise you'd pack up and go home in education. You have to believe that there's hope.
So we're back. I know the video was a little long, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity just to see that this isn't just, a one nation thing. It wasn't a United States thing. This is all around the world. So again, hope you enjoyed the video. And with that being said, I don't know if Dr. Charles, I know he had sent a note saying he was having some difficulties.
No, Sonia, I'm back now.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank God. Okay, so I wish to introduce my team members and the leader of the team, who unfortunately is unable to join us this evening, but we still want to acknowledge him.
Dr. Charles.
Hello.
Professor Matthias is on screen with you.
Okay, good. He's now with us. Okay, so Professor Matthias Mutula is the team leader for this group, that is quality education. And this is his background. He is creator of the Genius philosophy. He's a World Civility Ambassador. He's also president at World Changes Initiative and international vice chancellor at United Graduate College and Seminary International. He specializes in helping clients awaken to the genius in them so that they can maximize their potential. He also helps clients attract love and have thriving and amazing relationships. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to introduce to you Professor Matthias Mutula. Welcome, Prof.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Charles. May I first and foremost express my sincere and special gratitude to Dr. Sonia, and appreciate her so much for this wonderful initiative that will for sure change the world for the better. But I also want to appreciate you, Dr. Charles, our senior coordinator. I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity. And once again, thank you for bringing up such initiative and at the right time. This is the fertile time for such an opportunity. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome, Prof. And we are glad to have you here. Prof, this is the first question I have for you. What does the ICN, Congress for Global Communication, mean to you as a member or a leader of this team?
Yes, Dr. Charles, personally, I've learned a lot through this initiative, and I'm working with my team members and also submitting to you and also Dr. Sonia. But from my perspective, this is a global platform that does foster communication equity, which is a key that will change the world, which is a key that will bring humanity together. First of all, this platform or communication equity is a key that will unite humanity at the very base, from the top down and the up and the down. I mean, bring humankind together and understand that we are just one. But also this platform or the communication equity, which is fostered by this platform, will also make the world better. When we as human beings begin to relate better, understand each other better, then the world has no excuse but become a better place to live in or to be in. But then this platform also does help us understand that we are one. As human race, we are just one. And for that matter, we have to communicate with each other and one another with respect and dignity. And again, as we relate with respect and dignity, then we have to learn. The platform helps us understand that as a consequence of that, we will learn to love and appreciate one another and accept one another totally unconditional. So the key word here is a platform is a global platform for communication equity that will help us understand that as human beings we are just one, as human race, one family, and thus we must relate and communicate with one another with respect and dignity.
Thank you very much. And what does the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is quality education, mean to you as a leader of the team?
Yes, this is very interesting, Dr. Charles. I will just bring this in 3 points, 3 nutshell points. Number one, I understand that quality education is a system of education that fosters innovation and creativity, but also it makes of students thinkers and searchers. Thinkers and searchers, and then problem solvers. Quality education is all about making of students thinkers, searchers, and problem solvers. Mind you, Dr. Charles, I'm saying searchers and not researchers just alone. A researcher has to go from going into what is being searched before and begin to do a study and research from that. But then searchers bring new information. They're creators of information. So they're bringing something new into the table. That's number one. Number two, quality education is a system of education that trains local people to identify and solve local problems. It is a system that trains people to identify and solve local problems. Number three, last but not least, I would say that quality education is a system of education that does focus on the gifts and the talents of the students. It has to focus on the gifts and talents of the students. In other words, you are training me based on what I have already, based on the gifts and the talents that I do have. According to my understanding, that is quality education in a nutshell.
Thank you very much for that very excellent and brilliant delivery, Prof. And on that note, it's my pleasure to introduce our team member, Chaplain Professor Dr. Gerald Akama. This is Prof's background. Prof is founder and president of Global Peace and Development Association. He holds a PhD in human rights, peace, and conflict studies. He also has professorship from United Graduate College and Seminary International. He's a certified professional mediator. He specializes in assessing and analyzing information and protects and improving the lives of individuals and community. Prof, you are warmly welcome, and we are glad to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Sonia, my team leader, Professor Mutora, for giving me the opportunity also to say what I know or what I understand about quality education. And for the interest of time, you have defined what is quality education. Professor Mutora has also said the same. But let me just have to say, when you look at the word Congress, it means that we are coming together to take action and meeting together. When we are talking about global, we are talking about we are involving the entire world, meaning as we were ushering Sustainable Development Goal in 2015, we did say that let us not leave anyone behind. Because as we were ushering Millennium Development Goals in the year 2000, some people were left behind. So that's why we have gone global. We are bringing the entire world together. And the communication, we are simply saying that we want to transfer the information we have from one person, from one place, or from one group to another. And I have to say that communication is imperative. Communication is key. Communication is very vital. If you have the idea, you have the information, and you don't share it out, then you have it yourself. So information, ideas must be shared. Then what this platform means is that it has to empower people. People need to be empowered. And just as my team leader said that we need to work as a team. As Dr. Clyde Rivers puts it, that 7.8 billion people, but when I was Googling now, we have reached 7.9 billion people. 7.9 billion solutions. Everyone matters. We have to literally involve everybody else. And from this platform, I'm saying that we need experts. We need to have people who know, not whereby everyone masquerade that he has got an idea. Let us seek ideas from the experts, from professionals, because they can help us move very forward. And I also see it as a positive dialogue for us to exchange ideas and information. The next question you did ask me is, what do I understand of quality education?
Yes, what does quality education mean to you, Prof?
Yes, and you know, I am a professor of legacy. Legacy, you live legacy and you talk about history. So I need to give a background, how quality education come into being. You cannot be able to talk a history of a people, the culture of the people, the history of a country, unless, or institutions, unless you understand how it came into being. Prior to September 2015, the United Nations ratified 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And for the sake of the interest, I need to define what Sustainable Development Goals, Sustainable Development means. It is for us using the resources of today with in mind there's a generation coming behind us. So we need not to jeopardize the same resources they are going to use. And this one also takes me into another level to define what development is all about. Development is a process of improving the qualities of life of the people. So the word here key is quality of life of the people. And once we have done that one, so they came up with that one, so that for the world to have prosperity, we need to protect our environment. We need to eradicate poverty, which is goal number one. We cannot be able to talk about goal number 4, we don't talk about sustainable peace, which is very key. So goal number 4 of sustainable development goal is very unique, and it is purely focused on education. One of the things that we need to appreciate, at least education has been brought on the table. It is on the agenda, and there's going to be focus on it. So quality education is to ensure that there is an inclusive and equitable quality education, and it is going to promote life. We are talking about change. If we have to change nations, I need to assure my viewers and the people who are listening to me is that we need to use education. It is through education that the varied dreams of the dreams of people can be varied. What do I need to say this? It is through education that the rich and the might, they go through the same system. They do the same exam. They are examined the same way. So education is very key here. The call for quality education is not mere access to any education. It is a grand step in ensuring that all children, the word here is all children, not just those from high-income countries, all children must have quality education. I was sharing a while ago with my colleague saying that the animals which entered the ark, there were those who walk very fast. There are those who walk very slow, like the snail, but all of them, they enter the ark. So it doesn't matter at what level you are, whether you are income, middle income, or lower income. Here is what's more important that we have agreed that our children must get quality education, all our children. There are those who argue that the threshold of quality education is made by focusing on literacy and numeracy, but sustainable development goals are recognition that this definition is insufficient and outdated. That is not the case. Education is not simply a content delivery system. Rather, it is designed to help all children reach their potential. That's all it's about. And I want to use the word of Sister Ellen G. White. Sister Ellen G. White is the founder of the Seventh-day Adventists. She said that education is the harmonious development of the physical, the mental, and the spiritual foundation of our society to prepare them for this life and the life to come. And I know I am dispensing my 5 minutes, but let me just have this to say that the education must assume that its central role is helping people to forge more just and a peaceful and a tolerant society. And for us to move forward from where we are, this is the time now not to focus, not to build, not to record. What we need to do now is to rebuild, because we have never built. It's for us now to focus. It is for us to recognize that all children in planet Earth, that they need to receive education, so that we need to redeem ourselves. And for us to be able to achieve quality education, our leaders must be accountable. As they go to United Nations every other year, let us everybody come and report what he has done on quality education. And that's why I say that if we have to move together, we must be able to be our brothers' keepers. And up to this point, I am happy that even if nothing is not going to be achieved much, remember, we have expensed 6 years from 2020 2015. But what makes me happy, the agenda is on the table. Regardless whether children from elsewhere in the world are running under the table, it is important that they are assessing that kind of education. So quality education is very key. So what I'm trying to say, that this platform is very important because it is giving us an opportunity to engage. It is giving an opportunity for us to have a serious conversation. We have never talked enough, and that's what we call the communication. I submit.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Charles, before you start up again, I have a question directed to Professor Jared, but I need a short answer. Dr. Jared, question. What do you think of the new CBC system in Kenya?
That's very good. That's very good. And I don't know how whether you realize that I'm a serious promoter, that some of the education that we have given our children, they have gone through the system from kindergarten up to university, and the children have never discovered who they are. They become graduates and they have never known that they don't know what to do in life. So what we are trying to do with the competence-based curriculum in Kenya, and we are talking about change, and when change comes, people have to resist. People are used with the normal. It is a good thing because we will be able to realize what children are good at. If you realize that you can do athletics, you can play, you can do sports, you can do technical work, you can be able to proceed to food industry, whichever you want to do, whether it is entertainment. We need to get these skills so that we don't spend all your years up to university, whereby and you come back to say that, oh, that I want now to be a musician. I have got a case study where we want to dream for our children. You were never a doctor, and you want your child to do medicine. Because you have forced this child to do medicine because the children are brought up to pay. They go up to university, they complete, and they bring you your degree, and they say now they have become of age, they want to go for to do their music. So the CBC will help the government and the people of Kenya and around the world, and that's where the world is focusing. Yes, that we must be able to get identify talents much earlier and nurture them. A while ago, I was trying to say that you can be able to change and make who a child is at the formative years. So that is a good thing to go, and I hope that it needs to be supported. I am a promoter, and I've given my perspective that that's the way to go.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Charles.
Okay, thank you very much, Sonia. I wish to introduce the next team member of the quality education team. He's no other person than Dr. Ali Etanichi. This is his background. He's founder of Ali's Dose of Inspiration podcasts. He's the host of Let's Dice Together TV show. He's a connector for organized 3 world summits from 25 countries. He's an author of 2 books, and he specializes in public speaking and motivation, diversity, inclusion, equity, and equality discussion. So you would agree with me that we couldn't have brought any better person than him as we deliberate on quality education, which embraces equality and inclusiveness. He's also a coach, coaching clients about a well-connected, balanced, and fulfilled life. Dr. Etanachi, you are welcome. And my first question for you is that, what do you understand by the Congress of Global Communication, or what does it mean to you, Doc?
Thank you very much, Dr. Sonia, for this initiative. It's amazing to see these beautiful faces from all over the world coming together to discuss this amazing topic. There is a surprise that quality education is number 4, but I will go back to your question, Congress for Global Communication. It is a good time right now to focus on that, because communication, what is communication? It's about receiving, and sending. But is the communication really stuck with people to understand what this means? Because quality education, we want to focus on that. We want people to learn. We want people to realize that's like the United Nations started this in September 2015. And your goal to reach that on 2030. We need 8 years. That's 7 years already passed. So we need a communication that matter. As Dr. Sonia initiate this, communication that matter, communication that change, communication that people realize. Because a lot of people talk, a lot of people share many things, but is there make any change? Is people really learning? So we need something that is practical instead of something that's theoretical. We want practical. We want people to learn. As a Chinese proverb always say, don't give me a fish, but teach me how to catch a fish. That's what we want people to do. We want people to learn, want people to be a thinker, as brother Dr. Matthews shared earlier. We want thinker, we want researcher, we want resolver, that people find a solution to the problem, not just like learn about it when they get out from schools and they don't know what to do with all that knowledge they acquire.
Okay, thank you very much for that insightful background information about our Congress. My second question for you, Doc, is what does the Sustainable Development Goal number 4 mean to you? Quality education. What does it mean to you, please?
Well, quality education, the education in itself, a lot of people said that education is the preparation for life. But education is actually life itself. Because education, we need nowadays education that is inclusive, education that is equitable, so people have access to the same education that everyone has, so we can unlock the future. Because education is filling empty mind to make it an open mind. That is what we want. We want people to learn. We want people to take that education that learn at school and use it for their life. Because what remains from what you learn after you forget everything is the education, is the knowledge that you acquire from school. So we want education to be something that you use for your life. As Albert Einstein once said, education is not the learning of the fact, but it is training the mind to think. That is what we want. We want education so people train their mind to think, not just learn the fact and learn the date and learn all the stuff that bombard the mind. We think that's just learning the fact, but we want the training of the mind to think.
Okay, I have a follow-up question for you, Dr. Brief one. It is said that education must encompass quality technical, vocational, and tertiary education, including university education. However, it is supposed to be affordable. What steps do you think the leaders of the world or global leaders must put in place to ensure that education becomes really affordable so that the ordinary citizenry can also participate in quality education?
What the global leader need to know, that is the education is the future. Education, everybody have to have access to affordable education. Because nowadays what we can see in Africa or in most countries, there is a public school and there is a private school. Public school, always people like, you can find like 100 students in a class that probably can be able to fit only 20 students. And you go to private school where people pay more money and they get quality education and they get a good education. We need to stop this division. We need to stop this separation, and everybody have access to this quality education, because education is not a privilege for the rich or people who are wealthy that can have access to that. It should be, it's almost like here in Canada or in different countries that you have a free health system. It should be also a free public or quality education for everyone, because you are preparing leaders. You are preparing future leaders that they can lead this world. But when you have weak leaders that they have a weak education, definitely you are going to have, as what we can see now. So we need a good quality education, honestly.
I have a question for the team. I came in earlier.
Thank you very much. Sonia,
yes,
please come in.
Okay. I have a question for the team. This question came in earlier. In what ways your team intend to assess and ensure quality education in the pursuit of realizing the vision we all desire to see in society at large? So I'll repeat it.
Can I come in?
Yes.
Yes, please. Come in.
Yes, yes. You see, I belong to the class which says that if you are not part on the table where the policies are being discussed, then you forget what's coming out of that table. What we have tried to say, that even the question which just has asked, he has talked about the word affordable. From where I stand and from my team, education is supposed to be universal, accessible for all. The moment we bring the word affordable, then we are trying to put boundaries. And what I'm trying to say that this is a commitment, and I hope that you listen to my conversation. I said we are not going to achieve much, but it's very important that that agenda is there now. People can be able to engage. So what we need to do, I know, like, let me just talk about my country, that the budgetary making is participatory. People have to participate. So we need deliberately to create awareness. If we have committed to quality education, to ensure that more resources are allocated by the government into the ministry sector. That's how we can be able to do it. Let people have a conversation. And the time has come for us to hold our leaders accountable. That's what I say, that people must be able to participate, people must be consulted. When it comes to education, people must be able to ask hard questions. What are you trying to do to ensure that there's quality education? Let me just use about my country. We cannot talk about quality education when one teacher in a class is having 300 students or pupils for that case. And then we are here talking about quality education. So what we need to do now is to ask the government and ask the United Nations, as they discussed here, is that even when the government make their quarter reporting, what are they trying to do to ensure there is quality education, and more money must be allocated to education. And here the case here is, I did say that let us not leave anyone behind. There are those high-rich countries, World Bank, the Bretton Woods, they must be able to support education, because if you support education in a span of 20 years, you can be able to change a society. That's from my take. More resources need to be given to the ministry or the sector of education.
Okay.
Okay. Professor Lutula, would you want to augment what Professor Akama just said?
Yeah, maybe just add a few thoughts, because just give an example. In my country, Mozambique, for example, we have, like Ali was saying, we got two sort of kind of schools, type of schools. You got the government school, but also we have the private schools. And the quality of education delivered is totally different. But then I think in the awareness that we can project, I think we can also come up with policies that which could be presented to the local governments, local sectors of education. Because I think in my country, We have the local sector of education for each province, district, and the province, and then it keeps going high up into the ministry itself. And then if you can just take initiatives of, first of all, creating these proposals and then send to the local sector of education, that could be one step forward. But then I think taking advantage of platforms such as this to create a global awareness will also draw attention to the world and those responsible for education in different parts of the world to begin to understand, and they see the cry of the multitudes, the need for them to give us or grant unto people a quality education. And then, like I was saying, and this should be education, for example, at the local level. We the local sector of education must produce a curriculum and a system that will help people identify and solve local problems. Why? Because in a country like Mozambique, you can go to school from grade 1 to your first degree, but you discover that 70% of all level studied in your 16 years of education, it's totally obsolete. You can't use it in everyday life. So training people in that which will help them benefit in their everyday life could be also another great step forward. So I believe adding such into awareness will bring more light into it.
Okay, thank you very much. I have another question for the team. Quality education, as stipulated by the United Nations, is supposed to embrace technical and vocational skills, which means skills acquisition is supposed to be part of quality education. Considering the fact that in some African nations, or most African nations, the adult population, a lot of them are not educated, but these people can be given some skills to become either employable or to acquire some entrepreneurial skills that will enable them to be involved in one trade or the other. Must education always occur in the classroom? That is my question.
I may jump into that and say no, because I think somehow we have to redefine what education is. I don't think it's all about going to the classroom setting and getting your degrees. I think that anything that does foster your creativity, that stretches your mind, that's education. I think that anything that does that stretches your gifts and talents, that's education. And then let's go back, for example, into maybe 500 years ago, or maybe a little around there. We did not have formal education as we have today. And when it came into existence, it was not for everybody. It was just for a certain group, upper class in the society. But then life was going on. So I think that if you look at children, for example, I think they are born with gifts. That which God has given them, if they could work on it, would help them even develop it, and then trade and live and pay their bills and make money from that. You go, for example, in the sports arena, where people that never been to a formal classroom, but they are making money, they're making a living. So I think that's education. And if you can begin to pay attention in the gifts that people do have and find means to help them develop the gift, and that could have in a classroom setting, but also outside a classroom setting. But that we should incorporate that as well, the out of classroom setting as an education as well, and help people see and understand that if it helps you discover and develop your gifts, that's education itself, in and by itself. That's how I would say answer the question, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Dr. Internati, would you want to? Okay, Prof, go ahead.
Let me just come in and say that my answer also to affirmative is no. and we are talking about changing the curriculum, and I want to talk from a practical point of view. I want to be very honest, and I want to be honest with my viewers and people who are listening to me, is that one of the things we need to do here is that you cannot just allow people just to sit in a room like this and they say, now let us go CPC way. Let us involve people. Are the people informed? Are the people aware? And if I use a case study of my country, books are even the curriculum books are changing every other week, and the parents cannot even afford. So what we need to do, we need to walk this journey together. And that's why I gave a recommendation, which Professor Mutora said that we must be part of making the policies. We must be able to use a platform like this to create awareness. Sometimes we blame our leaders for the sake of blaming when they don't even know. So awareness is key. Involving people is very key. Informing people is very key. And you cannot talk about this tertiary education institution just for the sake. It needs massive budget in terms of allocation. So that's why we say that we need serious partners if we have to work this journey together. My critique was when the Secretary for United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, in 2012, he talked about we need quality education. What's more important, it is on the agenda. May we go back to our respective countries and ensure that we are part of the policy making. May we ensure that more resources are put forward so that we can have these tertiary and vocational colleges. That is the only way forward. If we are not going to put more resources, even we are not going to involve people to change the curriculum. And this is what I was avoiding to not mention, but in the process of conversation, have been pushed to do these things. Let us also address corruption. Let us address corruption. This is the elephant in the room. It is the elephant in the room in the sense that you heard Mutora saying that the private schools and the public schools, I can attest, my friend, that when I went to school in my time, I went to public schools and they were performing better than private schools. So it is because of corruption and people are in terms of doing business, they have brought the educational sector into a halt. So what we need to do here is that let us create awareness to the people that the world has committed ourselves, and if we have to competitive and achieve sustainable development, goal number one, for heaven's sake, involve people, allow people to participate, allow people to chart their destiny. We must be on the policy-making table. Nothing about us should be discussed if we are not there. I submit.
Thank you.
Dr. Robinson, over to you, please.
Okay, thank you. Ali, do you have anything to add to the question?
All I want to add is I will echo what Prof. Matthews and Prof. Jared said. And also, I like what Dr. Verent Alan Joseph mentioned there, awareness, access, and participation.
Yes.
That's a big thing. It's all start from raising awareness. When we find where is the problem, when we find where is we are failing, because there is some places like the Ministry of Education, probably you find like they are giving them like maybe, let's say, for example, give it 10 million. And in Africa, soccer, there is like about 100 million that they are giving for soccer for player, that what they are bringing to the country or to the generation. So as I said, like it need to be coming from the top. It need to come like from like a willingness that's coming from like the top notch, that they are willing to provide access to those students. And education doesn't have to start from school. It starts from home. It starts from home, because when you are teaching the children that they can do whatever they want, they can do, because when you believe in a child and you ignite that light inside of them, whatever you put in his head, if he want to be a doctor, if he want to be an engineer, if he want to be a teacher, whatever he want to be, he can be, even if you don't have access to those quality education. He will strive because he believes in himself. But unfortunately, some country that even if they know that a child have a dream, they block him before he start. And that is something that we have to face that challenge, and we have to be willing to give them access, to accept them, and give them like to use that knowledge, that skills, to use it in the work field. Because what is the point if you are learning something and you are not using it? You will be just collecting all that knowledge and it will be wasted. So awareness, access, and participation. Thank you, Dr. Vernet Allen, for sharing that. And it's just like we need an education that focus on complementing each other, not on competition. Most of the school now are competing. That child is better than you. You have to do better. No, that child is good in math. We have to compliment him and say, oh, he's really good at math. And you are good in history. Maybe you are good in geography. And each child will feel that this is what I'm good at. And he will feel good. And he don't feel that he's competing with anybody else. He feel that I love this. This is my passion. And he don't feel ashamed that he's doing that. So that is what we have to do. Accept and shine from inside. And parents have to give their children do talent that they have and acknowledge it and encourage them. That's all what we need.
And you're right, because, you know, when I was raising my kids, and I agree with you 100% that education starts at home. It's the foundation. So it's how you raise a kid, how you bring a kid up. And some of the things that I see or I noticed when I was raising my kids, you know, they had chores. You know, it's like it's a building block. You know, I started them out with chores. If it's not done right, you go back and redo it. You do it right the first time, we're done with it. But then it continues on that way. So now when they're in school, you know, you're working with them to develop study habits, study patterns. You know, you know, I want you to sit here and do this at a certain period of time, point in time. You know, you do your homework. If you don't have anything, you're still going to have something to do. And that's preparing their mind. You know, it's expanding that mindset. You know, you're developing that mind. So once they have that going, you know, it'll carry them through life. So as they're going each step of the way and you're there supporting them, it's like every time my daughter would call me, well, Mom, this happened today, or they said this, I'm at the school. What's going on? Do I need to sit here? You know, because you got to show them that you care and that you're going to be there with them. So once we got past that point, because, you know, she graduated with a 4.4 grade, a GPA when she graduated high school. Then she went away to college. And, you know, I was afraid when she went away to college because it's like, you know, it's like when you were home, you studied, you had this habit that you were in. When you go away to school, you're going to get with these other kids. But, you know, once they leave you, they don't lose it. They don't lose it because you've already put it into them. You know, it's reoccurring. They're sitting there. They're doing it all the time. And it follows them through life. Now, the other thing that you need to watch for, and this is what really gets me now as I sit here and watch TV, I watch where we have the celebrities and the rich people paying for their kids' way into college. It's in some cases, they don't have that skill set to be in college or the college that they're putting them in, but you're going to deprive someone that does because they're not financially able to do that. Now we have this COVID thing going on, and we're watching these people, the adults and the kids are watching them as well, sit up here and just clown and act a fool about and ready to fight the teachers. And I'm like, okay, so what is that about? I mean, you know, can we ask the kids what they think? We don't include the kids in the thought process now. We just make these decisions and just clown and act. Just, you know, I don't know what to say. So I was so glad when I saw the kids in California protest because no one asked them what they thought. They're the ones that are having to go into the school. They're the ones that have to wear the mask. But no one asked them what they thought. So my thing is, if we're saying this is a family decision, include the kids and get their thoughts, you know, what they think about these things. Don't just sit up here and say, well, this is what you're going to do. Because in the end, when they reach adulthood, are they going to be able to make decisions? Are you showing them how to make decisions? They're looking at you. So my thing is, you know, we need to start practicing what we preach to our kids. And I don't see that all the time. But I just think that that's something else we need to look at. The other thing we need to do is inform parents. You know, right now, a lot of parents are misinformed. They don't know what's out there for their kids. They're saying, oh, well, you know, they got their charter school over there, you know, and they got this raffle that goes on and that determines how your kid gets over here. You know, it's the first 15,000 because they're only going to take so many. Oh, we got this private school over here, we got this over here. But in some cases, there's schools out there that you don't have to pay for. But parents have been misinformed because they don't take the time out to go look that information up. So again, that's what we're doing here today. We're sitting here saying we have to inform you to get that misinformation out of your mind so you can make the right decision for your child. Anybody have anything else to say? I went off on my little tangent that I said I wasn't going to do. Yes? No?
Yeah, I want to add the fact that per what the United Nations envisaged by 2030, through quality education, there's supposed to be a substantial increase in the number of youths and adults who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills, for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurship. This means that those who never had the privilege of having a formal education in the classroom must not see themselves as people who can never acquire education or knowledge. It is never too late, because we shouldn't always look at education within the context of being in the classroom. If we really want to acquire knowledge, these days there are a lot of avenues, including technology, that can make it possible for you to acquire all the skills that you need to be educated. So we mustn't restrict education to only what we learn in the classroom. But if you identify a particular profession, occupation, or a career that you want to specialize in, you can develop skills there. You can talk to those who are already practicing those professions or occupations, and the little knowledge that you can acquire from these professionals, if you keep doing it, trust me, you'll be able to use that to generate revenue, to do something that would bring you income. So education must not always be defined within the context of the classroom. When adults are educated, they appreciate the concept of education, and they are able to also insist that their children also go through quality education. Thank you very much, Sonia.
Okay. One last question for the team, and this is for Professor Matias. What do you see the goals for 2022 being for the team?
I would say that's twofold. One, we want to keep on creating and proposing policies that will definitely enhance the quality of education worldwide, globally, but also establish an equal access to the quality education. We want to see this disparity dissipate and disappear, so that those who are both in public schools but also in private schools have access to the same quality of education. And again, these are policies that will challenge the local government sectors to be able to create or implement, in the sense that we want to have, by the end of the day, have people that can think for themselves, that can search, and then that can solve problems. I think this will help many people if they can learn to think by themselves and for themselves, and learn to identify local problems and solve them, but also become searchers and be able to solve problems. I think this will definitely help them improve the quality of their lives in their personal lives, but also globally.
Thank you. Thank you. Just for the audience today that's viewing, we had a worldwide panel today. We had the genius code breaker from Mozambique. I just wanted to know, Dr. Matias, genius code breaker, give me a short explanation.
Well, this is born from the fact that I believe that everybody is born a genius. And the key into a successful life is to tap into the genius which is already within you. And the genius has to do with every aspect of life and every sphere of actuation in life. So it's not just about in the academia, but can be in sports, can be in the arena of business, politics, science, etc. So everybody needs to discover and tap into the genius in them. That's where the success in life lies.
Love it, love it. Ali, so let me hear where the emotional fitness coach comes from. And Ali is from Canada.
Like for emotional fitness, we do a lot of physical fitness. Like we try to work on fitness and stuff like that. But the emotion is the start of a lot of things that's been hidden inside. And that's something that we have to tap in and try to understand it. Because especially for us, man, we always show that we are strong. We never show our emotion. We are strong, even in our culture in Africa. I'm from Morocco. Man never cry. Man never complain. Man never show his emotion till we totally broke, and it's too late. So we need to practice and go, especially in emotional fitness, and understand ourselves, who we are, why this happening, why emotion come and go, and try to understand that emotion come and go, and we have just to let it and understand why the emotion is coming. Is coming to tell me something, is coming to teach me something, is coming to warn me of something. Because emotion don't lie. Sometimes we try to cry and we hide it. And we say, no, 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 you shouldn't cry. You should hold it. And you keep holding it till totally you broke down.
Yes.
Or you melt down, you will burn out. So that's why even with children, we need to tap in them and listen to them. And I like when you shared earlier that we have to listen to children and hear it from their own perspective. It's almost like when you are sitting in a room and having somebody in a different room talking on your behalf without even including you. And you hear them, they said, come on, guys, I'm here. You are not even you are not even including me in the conversation. What's going on? So the same thing for the children. When you listen to them, sometimes we think, no, they don't understand. But they understand more than what we think. They hear more than what we can't imagine. When you go to their level and listen to them and talk to them and say, okay, what do you mean? Don't ignore them and think, no, they are just children, don't understand. No, they are just little kids, they won't understand. They understand a lot, and they will cut you on that. You will sit sometime and say, daddy or mommy, I was talking to you the other day and you ignore me and you thought I don't understand. Right. So emotion go hand in hand with what's in the physical. So emotional fitness, physical fitness need to go together, because what is inside is more than what is outside. Outside is just the appearance, what people see, but the inside is what we see and what we deal with as persons. So when we fix inside, the outside will look nice and shiny.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, and the last person, the Associate Professor of Legacy, Dr. Okuma from Kenya. Short answer, short answer.
Yeah, thank you for the discussion we have had, and I hope that our viewers have listened to us, and this part of legacy we are creating. It has not been there, but we are having a serious conversation. Yes. As a legacy professor and as such a professor, I see good in people. And I want to say that when 2030 comes, if we will be there, I know that words have got meaning. And SDG number 4, we shoot our leg on even before we started working. The moment we brought the word quality, it was not even supposed to be there. We were just to address education. That's why now we are now struggling with the word affordable. And when we are trying to say that all children, we are saying that from the Regas point of view, that let us involve all children. Be it the people talk about disabilities. When children are fiscal challenged, that's how I want to look at it. That all the children all the children are entitled to education. Let us forget about this word equality. This is where we bring problems. When we bring quality, we are aware that the education we have has got a problem. So let us remove the word quality. Let us remove affordable. Let us have free, universal, accessible education for all children on earth. And may we have a legacy of involving people. You talked about children. A while ago, I was engaging Professor Finance, and we were trying to say that the education is a triangle. A triangle that we have got teachers, we have got parents, and we have got children. Sometimes teachers and parents will conspire and then they ignore these children. Let us involve everybody else, and that's the kind of legacy that I want to leave behind, and everybody to be involved. That we need to have a legacy of involving everybody, of informing everybody, of allowing people to participate, of allowing even children to give issues which concerns them. This is the kind of legacy that I want us to leave behind. And words have got meaning. And let us have this. What you are trying to say that you will talk about, let us think outside the box. I tell people, throw away that box and start thinking freely.
Okay.
That's deep.
Okay, so thank you for that, Professor Jared. I just want to thank everybody for being with us today. I thank the panel for being here, and you've brought a lot of insight, wonderful, wonderful dialogue. Dr. Charles, thank you again for being my co-host. And I just appreciate every one of you. So Dr. Charles, if you could close us out in prayer, we can go ahead and I'll let you guys go so we can start preparing for next week's group. Dr. Charles, please.
Let's please close our eyes. So, Father, we want to thank you for how far you've brought us today too. It is just by your grace that we've been able to speak to this issue, quality education. Father, you are the source of knowledge and wisdom. And there's no way we can acquire quality education without your involvement. So you pray, Father, that from today onwards, Father, let world leaders come to terms with the reality that it is important for our world to have access to free, compulsory, universal, basic education, even for our children. And that education must be all inclusive. That it must be quality, equitable, and above all, it must be affordable. Father, we also ask that you equip us with the resources, because we may have good plans, but we may not have the wherewithal or the financial capacity to be able to offer this quality education. So as our world is going through pandemic and other difficult situations, we ask you, mighty Lord, to show us mercy and let the current economic situation that is confronting our world be still, and give our leaders the wisdom to think of the future more than the now. We pray, mighty Lord, that this discussion will go a long way to impact lives. Those who have listened to us, may they never be just the hearers, but may they practice whatever they've learned. At the end of the day, when everything becomes successful and glorious, we shall not be ungrateful to thank you. This we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, I will see you backstage, and goodbye to everyone. I'll see you next week.
Okay.